check out this functional sub-$100 Apple Watch alternative with enough features to blow your mind. Is Amazfit GTS 4 Mini the right one? Let's inspect. So, getting the right smartwatch, and this could be the one, and it's definitely difficult to make the right choice, especially when there are so many options, but this in particular supports Alexa, has more than 120 tracked workout modes, inbuilt GPS, and a price which is just a fraction of what you should pay for an Apple Watch, for instance. It's called the Amazfit GTS 4 Mini, and the point of this video is to expose all the strengths, but also all the weaknesses, so that we can figure out if it's a good functional alternative to the famous Apple Watch devices. Amazfit GTS 4 Mini is priced at $99, often discounted down to $89, and given the fact it has an inbuilt GPS, it could be the real deal, especially if the performance matches the expectations. Apparently, it is a good, budget-friendlier alternative to Apple Watch, and also competes against most other non-Apple products with similar shape like the bigger non-mini GTS brother or Huawei Watch Fit and similar. It can certainly beat some fitness trackers too, and we know that the much smaller Fitbit devices have even a higher price tag than the so-called Mini. Unboxing has been up to Amazfit's high standards. Very nice looking box, some of the specs notable. Even before we begin, we take the watch out. It looks great. Amazfit call this display Immersive. It's AMOLED, and we are going to see about the actual performance and specs in a moment. At the first sight, quite a nice strap with metal. There's a button on the side. It's not a rotating crown though. At the bottom, we find most of the sensors, which, when in contact with your wrist, are going to measure whatever they are supposed to. I would say GTS 4 Mini feels a lot more expensive than what it actually is. In the box, there's a charging plate and some instructions, so that's all. If the technical specs are what you need to know about, here are the most important characteristics of the Amazfit model. 1.65-inch AMOLED display with 336 by 384 pixel resolution, with ambient light sensor, protected by tempered glass and having anti-fingerprint coating. There's a 270 mAh battery which lasts between 7 and 20 days. There's an inbuilt GPS, BioTracker 3.0 PPG sensor, we have a microphone, Bluetooth 5.2 support, and the app which your smartphone needs to manage the watch is called Zep. Solid specs that we have just highlighted. As a matter of fact, there are a few key areas which I would love to discuss with you. And as a starter, looking at the display, it obviously has an always-on display mode. AMOLED with very good resolution, very nicely visible even outdoors, and if you place it side by side with an Apple Watch, it looks almost as good. So apparently not too many corners have been cut with the display. There is GPS inbuilt. In a matter of fact, it's GNSS integration, meaning that you have access to all the public global positioning systems, which hopefully is going to contribute to more accurate tracking, and we're going to verify this in a moment. There is no speaker, and you can't listen to music which is recorded on the watch because you anyway have no access to the internal storage. There is a microphone though, meaning that you can talk to the watch, and this is the primary way of communicating with Alexa. I just need to underline that the smart service for Alexa is accessible only in certain regions. But overall, given the spec sheet, I would say this smartwatch delivers a lot more than what the price suggests. And if we compare it to Apple Watch, especially when it comes to battery life, this here can last maybe between a week and 2 weeks, which is a lot better than the Apple alternative. However, if you're looking for a functional replacement, I think we should check the operating system first. The side button, as mentioned, is not a rotating crown. If it was, that was about to be great, because a digital crown is among the best solutions for quickly navigating through the menus. Having a single button means that you're limited to only open the app drawer or go back to the home screen by pressing it. The rest you can do via swipes and taps. If you see an Amazfit device for the first time, the navigation across the menus makes perfect sense, and you're going to have similar way of operation among the rest of their wearables. Swipe down for quick toggles, swipe up for notifications, swipe left or right to check on the cards. They're so beautifully designed. These days, the user interface and the feeling that you get are really important and are among the easiest ways to see the difference between expensive and budget-friendly devices. Although, I think we can agree that aesthetically, it looks as good as an Apple Watch. Right next to the SE Generation 2, it looks no worse. The display has similar characteristics, even the animations are on par with what Apple provides. In fact, I do believe the watch faces are a lot more, they're better and free of charge, at least most of them. Finding a good watch face for Apple Watch is usually a serious challenge. And here, since Amazfit have great community, you're going to find a lot of them with no extra or hidden cost. However, since the Zepp operating system on this watch is fairly basic, you won't count on the interactions that an Apple Watch face can provide. You can't fine-tune parameters like complications or refresh times, but some of these watch faces actually have a bunch of configuration options on the GTS 4 Mini. The available apps are easily accessible from the launcher. We start with the health tracking features. Just notice how well the heart rate tracking looks. The watch can measure your heart rate 24/7, same about SpO2. It's going to track your sleep cycles and the stress levels. Unlike the non-mini edition, there is no temperature sensor inbuilt. I've never felt the need for such anyway. We should also pay extra attention to the workout section, because more than 120 different activities can be tracked. This is huge and really puts the Huawei Watch Fit series under pressure, especially seeing the option to use a GPS. And while you're doing sports, you can also control music. If only there was some internal storage to keep this music on the watch, but if this is needed, go ahead and buy the non-light edition. Besides health tracking apps, you're going to find such for productivity, and Amazfit have recently enabled access to your smartphone's calendar app. So finally, the Zepp operating system handles event notifications in a pretty good way. Also, you could take advantage of the Tasks app. Guess what? Although I told you that installation of third-party apps is limited, it is not impossible. You can actually use the Zepp smartphone app to add some useful functions. The available apps are not that many and not that functional, but still represent a lovely attempt to build an app market different to the Play Store or App Store. The Zepp app has an overall nice interface with rather simplified UI and quick access to most important sections. I love the way sleep tracking is being presented. This watch can track all the important states of the sleep, including REM. You're gonna notice a bunch of details about heart rate tracking as well. I have to underline that besides the details around each and every tracked parameter, there's extra analysis with tips, tricks and recommendations, and all of that you get for free. The sports tracking is also very good. With the GPS on, you're going to see the routes, and because I can show you such routes, we can also talk about the GPS accuracy, which, luckily, with GTS 4 Mini is pretty good. It's clearly better than the predecessors, maybe not perfect because I can still notice some mistakes by 2 to 3 meters, but if you compare to premium devices from Garmin or Chorus, you're not going to notice any significant difference. Compared to Apple Watch, it will for sure lock signal much slower, but here's a fun fact. With continuous GPS usage, the GTS 4 Mini can last 21 hours, while the Apple Watch SE Generation 2 with regular non-GPS use is going to last around 18. If you need feedback about endurance with typical usage, then we talk about up to 15 days, and it's gonna be twice less with always on display. In battery saving mode, you can go beyond a month. Notifications are also nicely implemented, emojis are supported as well. Are there any drawbacks? Well, the lack of a speaker and rotating crown, which are excused by the affordable price. No ANT Plus support, no NFC, therefore no contactless payments, no internal storage and no Wi-Fi. But again, the price. So putting the Apple Watch and this device side by side, and if we're looking for the best possible integration with iOS, the possibility for making contactless payments, using a speaker, making phone calls, counting on LTE edition, and so on and so forth, it's hard to beat the Apple Watch. But if it comes to battery life, if it comes to health tracking, especially sleep tracking, because with 1 day battery life you can't really track the sleep cycles. If we talk about very polished design, lightweight construction, and super affordable price, then I would say the GTS 4 Mini is an excellent choice. And if you're looking to expand the functionality and possibly count on phone calls, although just relayed from the smartphone, and a speaker and access to storage in order to put some files and listen to music, then maybe you should check the GTS 4, the non-mini edition. I'm really curious to hear from you. Do you like this new 2022 edition of the Mini from the GTS series, or you think it's nowhere near the Apple Watch devices, or their functional Android-compatible equivalents? I'm really curious to hear about your opinion, and there are so many amazing comments I've seen down there, so make sure to check what the others think about this device. As usual, more information about the product, ways to support the channel, and the big subscribe button are somewhere down below. Thank you very much for watching this episode. Hope to see you in the next one. Enjoy your day. See you soon.